Did you know that sitting is the new smoking? However, small moves have big impact. Welcome back to Healthy and Happy Living with Tiryaq, where we explore simple practical ways to feel better and to the fullest. I am Dalia Gamil. Hopefully you can hear my smile. Today's episode is all about movement as medicine and how exercise doesn't have to mean spending hours in the gym. Instead, it can be woven into the things we already do every single day. I'm excited to be joined by Dr. Michael Abdelsayed, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, specializing in physical medicine and rehabilitation, with advanced training in osteopathic manipulative treatment. Dr. Abdelsayed helps patients reduce pain, restore function, and move more so they can live healthier and happier lives. In this episode, we'll talk about why everyday movement matters and how small changes can make a big impact on pain, energy, and mental well-being, and how you can start incorporating exercise into your daily routine. Whether you're busy, dealing with aches and pains, or just looking for realistic ways to move more, this conversation is for you. Welcome, Dr. Michael.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. This is one of the things I enjoy talking about.
Exercise doesn't have to mean being in the gym because movement is medicine. Dr. Michael, how walking, lifting groceries, housework, and play count as functional exercise?
Functional exercise means something that actually has real life application. There are many things that we do in the gym that really don't apply to real life. Functional exercise is something that has a real world application. When we're talking about things like lifting your groceries, doing housework, playing, absolutely right. These things involve physical activity, and because they're things we do on a regular basis, this is a functional activity. The more we do these, and we can incorporate exercise into these, such as grocery shopping, you walk through the grocery, you're lifting things, you're bending over, you're loading your car. This requires physical work. As we do these on a regular basis, they become easier. So this is a functional exercise. The same with doing housework. The more we do something, while it might seem tedious, it's important to notice that the things that I'm doing actually have benefit. And the more we do them, not only am I improving my health and my strength, but I'm making the task easier. If you realize that there is some benefit to doing them, they may not seem so tedious. You might not dislike them so much. Same with play. I mean, obviously we enjoy playing, but sometimes we have to play with our pets, with our kids, with our grandkids, and you may be tired, but if you think of it as exercise and activity, it might reframe or change your mindset, and these things may become more enjoyable, and the recipient, the child, the pet, the grandchild is benefiting, and you are benefiting at the same time. That is how I think these activities can be considered functional exercise.
Awesome. From physical medicine and rehabilitation perspective, how is training for life is not just aesthetics?
What we do in physical medicine rehabilitation, it's a very broad spectrum. It expands anywhere from dealing with children with congenital defects to end-of-life care. Sports medicine is in there. Athletic injuries also fall into the spectrum of what I do. We try to help people improve their mobility or get stronger. We really try to not focus on the aesthetics. There are people that exercise for that reason, and if that's what motivates you, fine, as long as you're exercising. But typically, if aesthetics is the goal, I find that people will not stick with the routine, because when they reach that goal, if they get there, then what's motivating them? The motivation should be wellness, should be improved quality of life, should be improved mobility, should be ease in performing daily activities. I want to get into the mindset of being healthier. If you just focus on you want to be strong and healthy, the fitness, the muscles, all that will come. That's a byproduct. That's a secondary gain. The main motive should be wellness, health, improved quality of life, ease in performing daily activities. In rehabilitation, our focus is reestablishing people's independence and performing their activities of daily living.
Perfect. And at this point in time, the goal becomes lifetime goal.
Yes, absolutely. If that is your goal, then you can keep this habit going on indefinitely.
How do you help patients shift their mindset from working out to moving more?
What I tell them, I'd say, forget about the gym, forget about the weights, forget about the machines. Just what do you like to do? Find something you enjoy, because if I tell you you need to be in the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, and you can't stand it, you're not going to keep it up. And we're going to see a lot of that in January. By the end of January, the gym becomes empty again. That's kind of how it works. Find something you enjoy doing. If you like to walk, then just walk more. If you like to go to the parks, great, walk in the parks. If you like the mountains or whatever, if you're in a place where you have hills and mountains and things, then go for hikes. Don't think of it as a workout where you have to go to the gym. Do things that you enjoy doing. Just think of it as something I have to do in a day. We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to take our vitamins or our medications, we have to exercise too. Think of it as just a part of your routine, something that is necessary. I tell many people, working out and exercise is not a luxury, it's really a necessity.
What are the effects of prolonged sitting on spine, hips, and circulation?
This is probably one of the biggest problems we see post-pandemic. When many people began working from home, many people were at a desk for many hours of the day. And what happens is when you're sitting at a desk, especially at your computer, neck is kind of bent forward. And when we do this for many, many hours in a day, things that occur are we start to, a little model here of a spine. These are your discs in between the vertebrae. The vertebrae have discs between them to provide space so that the nerves have enough space to exit the spine, and also they provide space between the adjacent vertebrae. So when you're leaning forward, you're hunched over, you're actually squeezing these discs. And when you squeeze an intervertebral disc, what happens is it tends to bulge.
Oh.
When that disc bulges, it pushes on the nerves that exit the spine, and you can get a pinched nerve, can go down, cause pain in the leg. Same thing can happen in the neck. Our spine has a natural curvature, but the position we assume when we're sitting at a desk is opposite of our natural curvature. So we end up compressing those discs. The other thing is our hip flexors get very tight as well. The hip flexor is the muscle that brings the leg up. And when you sit, it's short, it's not extended. Then it can keep you tight. That can result in bad posture, and that can result in low back pain as well. Also, when you sit for long periods of time, because you're not utilizing your core, if you're hunched over, you get weak back muscles. Then you get low back pain. And you're more prone to having back injuries when you bend over or you lift things. You can pull your back, you can sprain the back. Those are just a few of the things. Also, it's poor for the circulation. Some people get a lot of swelling in their legs that is worsened by prolonged sitting.
What are the common pain patterns you see from desk jobs?
I see lots of neck pain from people sitting in poor posture and leaning forward. I see tension in the shoulders and the necks, and sometimes in the neck, and sometimes if that happens for long periods of time, people develop some bulging in the discs in the neck, which can push on the nerves, and they can get numbness and tingling in their arms. I also see low back pain, more frequent low back injury, and poor posture as well. Strain, headaches, just from staring at a computer screen for too long.
Why can inactivity be more harmful than imperfect movement?
Your body is not picky in terms of how perfect the movement is. Now, if you're doing something really imperfectly, like let's say you are exercising or working out and you're using very bad mechanics and heavy weight that you can't lift, this can make you prone to injury. But let's say you are walking or running and you don't have the best running form, or you're swimming and you don't have a perfect form when you're swimming. If you do these things for long, extended periods of time, you're going to need to improve on these, because over time, if you do it the wrong way, this can lead to a repetitive stress type of an injury. But movement is movement. The worst thing you can do is do nothing. Even if you do things and you're a little self-conscious because maybe you're not good at it, or it doesn't look great when you're doing it, it doesn't matter. Go easy.
Yeah.
Any movement is better than no movement. There's a lot of problems associated with inactivity, but with activity, general light activity, moderate activity, you can injure yourself if you go overboard. But in general, doing things in moderation, it's okay. Even if you can't do it perfectly, anything is better than nothing. And our body is really amazing the way that we're created. Our body attempts to find the most efficient way to do anything. And it does that by causing muscles to contract, nerves to fire in a particular order. The more you do something, the more you will improve the coordination and the ease of that activity. So you'll get better at it just through practice.
That's awesome. What is the biggest musculoskeletal issue you see that could be prevented with simple daily movement?
I would say definitely low back pain.
Which is very common now.
One of the most common reasons people go to their doctor is for low back pain. And so much of it is very treatable, not even by anything that the doctor is going to do, just walk, move. What I tell people all the time is I try to teach people something called postural awareness. So be aware of your posture. If you're at a desk job, if you're sitting somewhere, you're at home, work on your posture. People that have good posture, they work on it on a regular basis. Also, another thing is weight loss. And the example I give people, I say, imagine you're standing or walking and you take a sack of potatoes or flour, 10, 15 pounds. Put it under your shirt in front of you, put a belt around it, and try to walk around with that all day. So that's what your back will be feeling with. You're constantly trying to make up for that. So the easiest thing to do is to let that weight pull you forward, which leads to bad posture and weak back muscles. Weight loss and activity really important.
So this brings us to a very interesting point I just thought of. How about pregnant ladies?
There was a time in my practice where somehow some of the OB-GYNs in the area, they found my name. He said, would you be willing to see some of our pregnant patients? I'm like, yes, absolutely. Second, third trimester, very common for women to start to have low back pain. They can even have numbness in their legs because the baby can be pushing a certain way, and so certain activities are more comfortable. Osteopathic manipulation is very safe. It is not cracking and twisting, and there are some stretching techniques and some things that can be done to help out the low back of a pregnant woman, taking breaks when needed, but not giving in to the extra weight of the pregnant uterus. Osteopathic manipulation is a great, safe treatment for that without the use of medication.
Good to know. We always think the body is one unit. How do movement affect mood, digestion, sleep, and immunity?
I see in the hospital with my patient population, most of the problems we see with these folks in the hospital are related to the fact that they've been in the hospital and been immobile for too long. The things that we see are related to immobility. The extremes are hospital patient, but when they're lying in bed for too long, they tend to get blood clots. The blood isn't circulating well. The blood gets a little thick. They become a little dehydrated because they lose some of the extra fluid that our body maintains to keep our blood pressure up. Constipation happens a lot and very closely related to immobility. Mood as well. There's a lot of studies that show that activity and mood are very closely connected. There is a release of several neurotransmitters in the brain from exercise. There is increased serotonin release, which we know is involved in, we see in depression, the treatment for that. When you exercise and you have completed it, there is a reward to doing that. That helps trigger our dopamine response as well. And then also there are painkillers. There are natural endorphins that are released as a response to that. So that can help improve somebody's mood. A lot of these folks in the hospital have a lot of pain. So it helps with that as well. Exercise also helps in decreasing muscle tension, which can upset people's sleep. It also helps in relieving or dissipating anxiety too. There's a couple of books that I think would be nice if you share with your viewers that I have read over the years that talk about all of the incredible benefits on health that are contributed to by exercise. Definitely exercise can help with sleep as well. It can help in regulating our rhythms, decreasing our anxiety, decreasing aches and pains, just kind of clearing your head. Some people like to exercise in the mornings. Great, good way to start your day. Exercising at night can also be okay because it helps kind of clear your mind and relax you and help with sleep.
That's interesting. So it's total life revamp.
We know that. It has so many effects on so many body systems. I mean, when we go back thousands of years, they didn't have medications and the procedures and the imaging and all they had. They probably didn't have a lot of the problems we have either.
They were just exercising life, and now we're trying to go back to this.
They weren't getting neck pain and pinched nerves and bulging discs and things like that. Activity was just integrated, woven into regular life. So many of what the problems we deal with are related to our sedentary lives.
Dr. Michael, what is the role of osteopathic manipulation in restoring motion?
Osteopathic medicine, we believe that there is a very close connection between structure and function. If you do not possess proper range of motion, if your tissue is tight and it's not elastic, this can affect circulation. It can contribute to pain, tension, poor sleep. All of these things become a cycle as well. So in osteopathic manipulation, what we try to do is we try to restore normal range of motion so that the body can function properly. One of the main tenets of in osteopathic medicine, we believe, and we do, our function is kind of controlled in our brain, right?
That's true.
You have your brain, goes to your spinal cord, you have the nerves that exit. You have the nerves that exit your spinal cord to do things like tell me that I'm touching my hand here, for me to tell my arm to lift my wrist or grip. These are things under my voluntary control. There are also things that are under involuntary control, our autonomic nervous system, digestion, the movement of our diaphragm, the contraction of our blood vessels, the storing of urine in the bladder. Those are not things that you can really control for the most part. That's still under nervous control. That's the autonomic nervous system that we don't have control over. When the body is tight and constricted, with the range of motion is limited, it can decrease some of the circulation and also the nerve function. Controlling these things, we believe that by restoring function and range of motion, the body can do its thing.
Exactly, because it's all one unit. Why do alignment matters in daily activities and how it affects the structure and function of our bodies?
Alignment is important because it's important for the spine to be aligned, for us to have proper range of motion and proper curvature. If the spine is twisted or turned, or it might affect the nerve outflow going to certain organs and things like that. That affects your involuntary functions and things like that. There are osteopaths have treated people with problems with digestion or people with problems with hypersecretion of acid in their stomach because there was improper function, structure, position of some of the spine, and therefore affecting the nerve output to these organs and these body systems as well. By improving structure, range of motion, this can result in normal function. Now, let's say we're talking about more physical things like just being tight. So I overtrain a little bit myself, I'm going to confess. But just when the range of motion and there is pain, when these things are affecting us, it affects your movement. It makes you more prone to injuries. So the more stretched you are, the better the range of motion that you have, the better you can move, the less likely you are to injure yourself, and the better you're going to feel. And if you feel better and you're not hurting, you're not sore, you're more likely to do things and you're more likely to be active in exercise.
That's awesome, especially the part of the hyperacidity. It's my first time to know that this kind of treatment can help without medication.
On another side, things like anxiety and stress can also increase stomach acid production as well. So the connection between body, mind, body, physiology is there for sure.
That's very interesting. How does osteopathic medicine uniquely approach movement and exercise?
The main reason people come to me in the office, they don't want medication. Sometimes I want to be as conservative as possible because they want to be relieved of pain, they want to improve their movement, and they want to do that pain-free. Osteopathic treatment involves pretty much stretch or a two-person stretch. We can improve and increase the range of motion there. Then they have less pain, they have improved mobility, they have improved sleep.
Interesting. Do you advise your patients exercise snacks, like 1 to 5 minutes movement breaks?
I've been encouraging that for a long time, but I never heard it termed as an exercise snack, so I love that. I like it. It makes it more doable and more enjoyable. It's funny, I had been posting on Instagram some short little, some of them are 1-minute exercise clips, 4-minute exercise clips. I have one that I posted here before, and I said I was sitting here at my desk and I was doing some telehealth visits, and I had a gap between patients. I had about 4 minutes, and so I decided to do a workout, and I recorded it, and then I posted it. And I showed people how you could pretty much do a full body workout in 4 minutes. It's not like working out for 30 minutes, but I ended up doing squats, and I did some exercise for my core. I did some push-ups. I did things for my shoulders. I did some stretch involved in there. If you know the exercises and you have the time and you know how to utilize what you have around you, I think these things are excellent, especially for people that have desk jobs. If you have a desk job and you have a lot of meetings all day, there's a lot of things you can do. Even 1 to 2 minutes, 4 or 5 times a day, that can be a lot of exercise. That can be 20 minutes of exercise. I love the concept of exercise snacks, and I encourage that.
Dr. Michael, please talk to us about simple habits like walking, meetings, mobility at red lights, and how it can help our body.
In the house, I mean, you can utilize your stairs, going up and down your stairs.
I like the idea of walking meetings.
I have had walking meetings with my office staff, and they're great because it's very easy to tune out when you're sitting in a meeting and you're just kind of going and one person is speaking. There is a neurotransmitter called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic growth factor. This is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for neuroplasticity, which is improving connections, wiring together. Neuroplasticity is what a lot of stroke rehabilitation is about, repeating things over and over again. When you exercise, you release this in the brain, and this leads to learning, wiring together of pathways. So you can come up with a lot of great ideas while you're exercising. I love the idea of walking meetings. I love the idea of exercise snacks.
In marketing, we used to think out of the box, and in medicine, it's think out of the office.
Yes, absolutely.
Does consistency beat intensity?
Intensity can allow you to improve performance and speed and strength in a way that my workout routine cannot. But in terms of wellness and health, consistency is the way to go. You're better off exercising every day at moderate intensity than you are working out 3 times a week at very intense or high intensity. Not to mention, high intensity always carries more risk of injury.
I agree, because consistency is followed by sustainability. Intensity can never guarantee sustainability.
Absolutely.
What are few realistic ways people can add movement without changing their schedule?
This is where we're talking about the exercise snacks. If you have the time to work out in the evenings and it becomes part of your routine, that's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have responsibility at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I try to tell people, don't feel guilty about working out, because if you're healthy, then you're there for your family. If you can work them into your day, that's great. If you work at home, then these exercise snacks are great. If you work in a building that has more than one floor, forget that there's even an elevator there. Take the stairs. And the more you do it, the easier it will become. If you need to take some things out to the car from your office, okay, well, instead of using that cart and taking it and make 1 trip, maybe you can make 4 trips. Yeah. Do things the old-fashioned way.
Very true. Dr. Michael, how can strength and mobility be protective tools?
One of the things that affects people as they get older is frailty. They become frail. They suffer from something called sarcopenia, loss of muscle bulk and fibers. When you are frail, everything becomes difficult. Getting up in the morning, getting off of the toilet, bathing yourself, dressing yourself, going to the grocery and getting your things. When you're frail, you can't walk the airport. You can't lift your luggage. You can't put your bag in the overhead compartment if you're frail. You can't do any of these things. Exercising is protective in terms of it allows you to continue to do things. Now, I talked about examples of keeping your life good, but also daily personal care activities, self-care activities. It's protective in that if you're stronger, you're less frail, you're less likely to fall, you're less likely to injure yourself. The other thing, the more you are strengthening yourself, the more you're improving your bone density. So if you are to fall, exercising on a regular basis with resistance training strengthens our bones, as we know. In fact, we're all going to lose bone density as we get older. Women will lose it postmenopausal, but men, once they get to a certain age, they're going to lose it just as fast as women do as well. And the only thing we can do, we can take calcium, we can get vitamin D. However, there are things that are taken to try to slow down bone loss or maybe increase some, but nothing compares to exercise. And when it comes to that kind of exercise, it's not just the walking, it's the strength training. Resistance bands, lightweight dumbbells, we must do that. It will help keep the muscles lean and strong, which makes us less frail, less likely to fall or get hurt lifting a small bag or an item, and it strengthens our bones so that if we fall, we're less likely to break something. Because once you take away somebody's mobility because of a fracture, it's all downhill after that. And statistics are that after a fall and a hip fracture in elderly patients, there's a 50% mortality in the first year.
Yeah.
And it's not because, oh, the fracture caused death. No, why did it lead to that? Because you took away the mobility. Now they're stuck in bed. There is the risk of bed sores, blood clots, pneumonia, constipation and bowel obstruction, infection after the surgery, a catheter that was placed to, so the longer we can move, better off we're going to be.
That's true, because it cascades like a domino.
It does.
What are the exercises that support joints long term?
Full body movements that involve full range of motion in the joints. I'm a big fan of strength training, but strength training can be hard on the joints if not done correctly. So it's good to do some resistance training. Doesn't have to be real heavy weights, because we're going to maintain the muscle mass and we're going to help with the bone density. With respect to range of motion, Tai Chi is a great thing. I don't do it, but Tai Chi is supposed to be very good for balance. Walking is excellent, because if people have knee pain or hip pain, there's nothing we can really do for arthritis. We can't really treat it. We can treat the pain, move, walk, swim, bike. You need to do movements that allow for slow, routine movements where you take the joint through good range of motion.
Good advice, thank you. Dr. Michael, how to maintain independence through strength and balance?
The most important thing that allows people to maintain their independence is their strength and their balance. By them continuing to be active or incorporating some activity or getting them a therapist at home or exercising with them. The stronger they are, the less help they need getting out of the chair. This activity right here, standing from a chair, is very hard for old people. This is something that we lose. They can't get up by themselves. Once they get up, it's much easier to walk. When you're standing up, it takes much more strength and effort to do that. So the more we conduct exercise that improves our strength, the more we can maintain our independence, because we are stronger. The things that help us in our balance are really just working on the balance. That's why Tai Chi is a great thing. Not many people know about it, but it's available, and many community centers, especially here where we live, they have community centers with very cheap classes for people to do Tai Chi as a group.
Interesting.
But even, small things like, just practicing, like maybe standing on one leg, practicing that, putting it out in front of you. If you need balance, hold on to a table and then remove that a little bit. Practice on the other leg. So there are things you can do to improve the balance. It doesn't have to be anything intense, like maybe a yoga pose that involves a lot of balance. But working on anything, practicing it over and over again, repetition will improve that. And then that leads to lengthening the time that you remain independent and decreasing your risk of falls because of your unsteadiness. Now, keeping in mind, there are other things that make people unsteady. It's not just their balance and coordination. It could be a blood pressure issue. Yeah. Maybe they stand up and their blood pressure drops. There are medications that may be contributing to that. Also, some people have issues with maybe vertigo when they move or they turn, they get dizzy. Sometimes you can get bad neuropathy from diabetes or other conditions, not just the neuropathy with the numbness in the feet, but neuropathy affecting the blood vessels as well.
That's an eye-opener. How can we work diligently to fall prevention and bone health?
So for fall prevention, practicing things which improve your strength and your balance, kind of like some of the things we talked about, standing on one leg, alternating on one leg, just walking. Practice leads to improvement. Of course, we have to make sure that we have adequate intake of calcium and vitamin D. And if you have really severe osteoporosis, you may need to be on a medication that's going to prevent further bone loss.
Do you think it's never too late to start moving?
Absolutely. It is never too late. You may not be able to turn the clock back 5 or 10 years. You may not increase the length of your life, but some movement, your body will respond to that. It will adapt. The older we are, the harder it is to make gains, to get better at something. But anything is better than nothing. It's never too late. And that's what I preach all the time.
The perfect answer. What does healthy aging look like from physical medicine and rehabilitation perspective?
Healthy aging from a physical medicine rehabilitation perspective means that you rarely see the physical medicine and rehabilitation doctor. I would love to say that my patients come in to see me because they're 85 years old and they hurt their back playing pickleball, but that's rarely the case. Most of the time, my patients are seeing me because of a stroke or because of advanced diabetes and amputations and a lot of really catastrophic things. I take care of a lot of those things. Healthy aging means that you're able to walk, you're able to take care of yourself, you're able to walk without the use of an assistive device. And hey, if you're 95 and you're walking and you just need a cane because you're a little unsteady or you have a knee that bothers you, by all means, fantastic, you're still moving. But healthy aging to a person in my specialty means you remain mobile, you are able to take care of yourself, you're able to perform your own self-care and daily activities like toileting, dressing, bathing. You're able to manage your finances and your medications. That's the goal we have for people. That's what we work to get them to do. If they can do those things, I consider that they're aging well.
We hope for that. Dr. Michael, can exercise be a treatment for stress and anxiety and burnout?
It can, and there is a release or decrease in muscle tension overall with exercise. When we stress and we're anxious, this is a primitive response that we have that was originally designed when we had to escape danger. We don't really have any of these problems now, but we're stressed. Our body doesn't know the difference between stress because I'm being chased or traffic is bad. It's all stress.
That's right.
The only difference is 1,000 years ago when I worried and I had stress, there was something to be stressed about and I had to be ready to fight and I had to be ready to run or protect. So all of the preparation my body did to get me ready for that, I expended when I did the activity. Now I'm stressed and I'm still stuck in my car in traffic. So I get all the negative results of the stress, the elevated blood pressure, the elevated blood sugar, the elevated cortisol, all of those things. And what happens when they don't have anywhere to go, I don't use them, it negatively impacts my health. So really important to another reason that we should engage in exercise on a regular basis.
How can we regulate our nervous system through movement?
We can help digestion, we can help with normal physiological function, these things that are under the control of the nervous system by activity.
That's true.
By exercising, if I can relieve my stress, it may help with my increased acid production. If I am a person that has irritable bowel syndrome, and when I'm stressed, relieving my stress through exercise might help with that as well. If I utilize that stress and I go for a walk, or I get down and I do some push-ups in my office, or I take the stairs a few times, then now I'm relaxed, my blood pressure and heart rate come down. So we can regulate these physiological activities that are under control of our nervous system by stressors through activity.
Interesting. We have a lot of options now.
We do.
How does daily movement impact our mental and emotional health?
By managing our stress, our anxiety, you become so accustomed to how much better you are able to deal with the stressors of life. When you exercise on a regular basis, you're going to feel the difference. When you're relaxed, you're sleeping better. When you're sleeping better, you're well rested, then your mood improves, your physiology improves.
That's awesome. How to safely move with past injuries or chronic pain?
Our bodies are amazing in the ways that our joints move and the different types of activities we can do. I mean, there's walking, there's running, there's biking, there is swimming, there is hiking, there is dancing, there is yoga, there's so many different, there's playing pickleball, there's playing ping pong, there's so many different things a person can do. If you have an injury, find something you do that doesn't hurt. Some people say, oh, push through the pain, that's how you make gains. I don't believe in that. Exercise may be a little bit uncomfortable. If somebody is stretching me, it may be a little uncomfortable. That means it's a good stretch, it's doing something.
Yeah.
It should not hurt.
This takes us to another question. What advice do you give to patients who are afraid to move because of pain?
And that's a great one too. I see many people, this happens a lot with back pain or with knee pain. Start slow, do something, and do it with supervision. I tell a lot of my patients that when they go home, and when we admit patients to the rehab unit here, they get 3 hours of therapy a day, 5 days a week. So they get a lot of therapy. When they get home or when I do televisits with people, one of the things I tell them when I see how weak they are, I'm saying, just stand up from a chair. It seems like a simple thing. This is a huge thing. Just do it over and over again. And I tell them, I'm like, make sure somebody's with you so that you don't have to be afraid. Have somebody with you, or give yourself some security. Have your chair in front of your kitchen counter, put your hands on the counter and stand. Now I have some balance.
That's true.
Some of these patients are in a wheelchair. Bring your wheelchair up to the counter, lock it, put the brakes on, just stand up, okay? What's the worst that could happen? You fall back down into your chair. The more you try it, the more you find out it's not so bad. You're going to build confidence. That will take the fear away.
Dr. Michael, from your experience, what are the activities most people enjoy?
Most people enjoy watching television.
That's no exercise. So I used to put my treadmill in front of the TV.
That is great. That is great. And when I tell people, find the thing that you like. If you love to walk, but you just can't, walk in the mall. Well, it's too hot, it's too humid. Okay, walk in the mall. It's too cold, it's rain. Okay, walk in the mall. I love my wife and she works out with me. She loves to walk. Like when we travel, she will walk faster than I can. She will walk longer. When I go for a walk with my wife and we walk around our neighborhood and it's like 3.5 miles, do what you can do within your limitations. You can do things in your chair. There are arm exercises. You can have resistance bands from a chair.
How do you advise your patients to progress without burnout?
Burnout usually happens when it's intense. You don't always really burn out on things that you enjoy.
Dr. Michael, what is one myth about exercise you want people to stop believing?
People think you have to have equipment, or you have to have a gym membership, or you have to know what you're doing, or you have to have a trainer, or you already have to kind of be in the habit of it. None of that is true. Be active anywhere you go. We are designed to move. There's a reason we have arms and legs and back muscles and core muscles and muscles that we didn't even know we have. Do something that you enjoy. Weight loss is huge now, right? 80% of our weight loss comes from what we eat. 20% is from the exercise. Abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym. Big myth is that I need to work out to lose weight. No, we need to just eat less and eat smarter. A little bit of workout is not going to make a difference. Even if you don't see a difference in the scale, things will fit differently. You will gain muscle. Muscle weighs a lot more than fat does. So you'd be like, I'm not changing. The scale is the same. Don't look at the scale. Your clothes are going to fit differently. You're going to feel better.
Great advice to end this discussion with. And this brings us to the end of our episode today. As we wrap up today's conversation, remember that movement doesn't have to be complicated to be powerful. Today's takeaway is simple: move more, stress less, and listen to your body. Train for life, because movement is medicine. Small intentional movements throughout your day can support your body reduce pain and improve your overall well-being. A big thank you to Dr. Michael Abdelsayed for sharing his great expertise and reminding us that exercise isn't about perfection, it's about consistency and connection with our bodies. If today's episode inspired you, start with just one simple movement today. Your body will thank you, and share it with a dear one who will thank you too. Appreciating you for listening to Healthy and Happy Living with Tiryaq. Until next time, keep moving, stay healthy, live happy, and remember to take joy wherever you go. Thank you, Dr. Michael Abdelsayed.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Same here. Thank you.